It's never easy to find out your teen is using drugs. Communication can be a powerful tool for reducing and preventing teen drug abuse. Talking to your teens about drug use can help them make the decision not to use drugs in the first place or to stop using if they already are. It is important that as a parent, you remain aware of the warning signs of drug use so you can give your children the help they need in a timely manner. Hi, I'm Kim Feeney with Butterfly Beginnings Counseling, and welcome to my channel. I have over 10 years of experience helping hundreds of children and families lead healthier emotional lives so that they can cope with big emotions. I'd love to help your family as well, so subscribe and hit the bell for weekly notifications on the latest content. Substance use often begins in adolescence, and the scientific evidence is totally clear. Addictive substances cannot be safely used by teenagers or young adults. Addictions in these years can have major impacts for two reasons. One, the areas of the brain that are needed for decision making, judgment, impulse control, emotion, and memory are not fully developed until the mid-20s. This makes young people more likely to take risks compared to adults. Risk-taking can include experimenting with tobacco, alcohol, and other street drugs. When the brain is still developing, addictive substances physically alter the structure of the brain and function faster and more intensely than occurs in adults. These effects interfere with brain development, which can then affect the user's judgment and increase addiction risks. That's number two. If you have reason to suspect use in your children, don't be afraid to err on the side of caution. Prepare to take action and have a conversation during which you can ask direct questions like, have you been drinking, vaping, or using drugs? No parent wants to hear yes. And being prepared for how you would respond can be a starting point for a more positive outcome. Chances are your teen's mood swings can be attributed to the racing and changing hormones that come with adolescence to begin with. In other words, teen mood swings are normal. You'll want to pay attention, however, if your teenage son or daughter is experiencing mood swings along with changes in behavior or appearance. Things such as losing interest in activities they once enjoyed, or dropping old friends for a new peer group. If they're acting despondent, angry, aggressive, sleeping more than usual, breaking the rules, exhibiting physical changes like sudden weight loss or frequent nosebleeds, bloody or watery eyes, shakes or tremors. These are all behavioral and physical signs that your child could be misusing medications or using drugs or drinking alcohol. Knowing the signs and symptoms of teen drug use can help you to better understand when and if you should involve a professional. One of the most challenging aspects of addiction is that it is a progressive disease. Early warning signs can be tricky to spot, and unhealthy patterns can develop into full-blown substance use disorder or substance abuse if not addressed. When you know your teenage son or daughter's passions, interests, habits, the early warning signs of trouble will be even more apparent to you because you'll just sense when something seems off. Casual drug use can quickly spiral out of control if you ignore problems. Rationalize underage drinking or smoking marijuana even, as experimentation or just a phase. It's going to be much easier for you to turn problematic behavior around when warning signs first surface, rather than when the situation escalates or worse, an emergency occurs. Especially for kids who are at higher risk of alcohol or other drug addiction, paying attention to early signs of trouble can reduce the likelihood of future problems. As a parent or concerned adult, you can never intervene too soon. Friends in a teen's social circle may be aware of drug use before the adults are, either by observing the risky behavior directly or hearing stories from other groups and other friends in their group. Don't expect adolescent friends to convince their peers to stop drinking and using drugs. Adolescents will typically avoid having such a potentially awkward conversation or otherwise intervening. Unfortunately then, this has the effect of passively enabling the unhealthy behaviors. If your child is surrounded by friends who avoid saying negative things about smoking marijuana, drinking alcohol, prescription drugs such as opioids or other stimulants in a non-medical way, doing cocaine, heroin, then the unspoken message is that those dangerous behaviors are acceptable. And at this age, a friend's opinion has power, so it's more important than ever to keep the lines of communication open with your child, rather than relying on their friends to intervene. Behavioral signs of drug use or substance use can include avoiding eye contact, ignoring or breaking curfew, acting irresponsibly, frequently asking for money, stealing, locking bedroom doors, making secretive phone calls or texts, isolating from others, damaging relationships with family or friends, making excuses or just outright lying, withdrawing from classroom participation, slipping grades, resisting discipline or feedback, missing school or work, losing interest in hobbies or activities they once enjoyed, abandoning longtime friendships. Physical and emotional indicators of possible substance use or abuse may include poor hygiene, changes in appearance, paranoia, irritability, anxiety, just fidgeting, difficulty staying on task or staying focused, small track marks on the arms or legs or wearing long sleeves in warm weather, pupils larger or smaller, cold, sweaty palms or shaking hands, sores on their mouth, frequent headaches, a puffy, swollen face, extremely tired or hyperactive, either or, rapid weight gain or loss, fatigue with a noticeable change in sleep patterns, loss of appetite or periods of binge eating, changes in their dress or appearance, and threats or attempts to commit suicide. If you've noticed a lack of hygiene or unusual changes in your teen's style, sudden shifts or relationships in social circles, changes in your teen's friends groups that they don't introduce you to the new friends. Again, unexplainable mood swings, changes in behavior. Your teen could be emotionally unstable and shifts from happy to hostile in just minutes. They may become defensive, negative, paranoid, aggressive, anxious. If your teen overreacts to criticism or your attempts at a serious conversation, these all can be signs, possible signs of substance use and abuse. Another good one is if your teen has stopped talking to you regularly about their personal life. They may no longer come to you for challenges at work or school. Depression is often a symptom. Again, being secretive or deceitful. If your teen is hiding things, if they take a long time to answer your questions or give you indirect answers, endless excuses, feeling lethargic or overly tired, you may have noticed your teen is unusually tired and developed seemingly off sleeping habits. Periods of sleeplessness followed by long hours of catch-up sleep. If you're looking for a safe place to discuss your issues, consider joining our Facebook group for calm, empathetic, supportive parents and caregivers using the link below in the description. If you discover that your child has a drug or alcohol problem, it's normal to wonder what you could have done, if you should have seen it, and what signals you may have missed. In other words, how you could have prevented this. And perhaps more urgently, when does drug use or abuse progress to addiction? These are complicated questions with even more complicated answers. The good news is science has defined tangible early warning signs and symptoms that, if recognized and addressed, can help adults steer kids away from risks that could make them more vulnerable to addiction. There are 5 main factors that contribute to a heightened risk for addiction. Spelling out the acronym FACTS. F, family history. A, age of first use. C, craving. T, tolerance. S, surroundings. Family. When someone in a child's biological family, parents, siblings, or extended family members, has a history of substance use, that child may then have a predisposition to addiction and will be at greater risk of developing the disorder than a young person without a family history. Research from the Yale University School of Medicine indicates that first-degree relatives, children, siblings, and parents of alcoholics have 8 times the risk of developing alcoholism than individuals without a family link. A, age. Another important risk factor for substance use disorder. The younger a person is when they start using alcohol or other drugs, the more likely they are to develop an addiction. Current research by the National Institute of Mental Health suggests that a person's brain isn't fully developed until they're in their 20s or even 30s. Alcohol and drugs can damage the wiring in a teenager's brain, leading to issues in the future. C, cravings, intolerance. Because younger brains are still being developed, they are more sensitive to alcohol and other drugs than fully developed adult brains are. As a result, when a teen uses alcohol or drugs early on, they can develop physical cravings and tolerance to the substances being used. This is a progressive cycle that may very rapidly lead to active addiction. S is for surroundings. Surroundings may be the most noticeable warning sign of substance use. Exposure to the use of alcohol and other drugs, whether within a family or a peer group, normalizes the use so that it's perceived as what everyone is doing. In this regard, parents have a critical opportunity to act as positive role models. Such environment also increases access to substances, making a person more vulnerable to first-time use and opportunities to keep on using. Drop me a comment and let me know which of these areas concerns you the most about your child. There are many circles of influence in a teenager's life. Beginning with families, teens gain an understanding of both healthy and unhealthy behaviors. When parents and other caregivers clearly discuss the risks of drug abuse with their children, the likelihood that they will misuse substances is reduced by a massive 50%. So set a good example. The positive behavior that you and other members of your family model can have a dramatic impact on how your teenager perceives alcohol and other drugs. A teen circle of friends can also shape their beliefs and behavior regarding substance use. Teens are constantly trying to figure out how they fit into the world. As they work to find their place, they can be strongly influenced by peer pressure. If young people spend time with other teens who are regularly engaged in risky, unhealthy behaviors, then they're more likely to engage in those behaviors themselves. As a caring adult, be aware of any shifts in friendships, associations, activities. Ask some simple questions of your teen about their life. How is so-and-so friend doing these days? As a way to uncover any red flags in peer relationships. If a teen is vague about who they're hanging out with or how they're spending their time away from home, take that opportunity to dig in just a little bit deeper. In these conversations, relate, connection, don't interrogate, don't lecture, listen, and show that you're genuinely interested. Try to establish a strong bond of trust. What's portrayed in movies, on TV, online, and in music can also help shape perceptions about alcohol and drug addiction. Whether it's Ewan McGregor shooting heroin in Trainspotting, Tony Montana snorting cocaine in Scarface, or glamorizing underage drinking and smoking marijuana in Superbad. The media can portray drug use as cool, fun, entertaining, while neglecting to broadcast the negative consequences of addiction and drug abuse. Serious health consequences, relationship troubles, financial issues, incarceration, overdose, and even death. Incomplete media messages can lead to dangerous misperceptions. If your teenager likes a movie or a song referencing alcohol or other drug use, this might not be a warning sign. Don't overreact. However, these interests can lead to misperceptions about substance use. Perceptions shape behavior. Being aware of your teenager's views regarding alcohol and other drug use can be such a valuable tool in identifying risk and taking a preventative stance in their lives. Again, talking with your teenager about the realities of substance use can powerfully impact their perceptions. Don't be afraid to finish a conversation that society may have started. Use your detective nose. Have a real face-to-face conversation when your child comes home after hanging out with friends. If there has been drinking or smoking, the smell will be on their breath, on their clothing, in their hair. Pay attention to their eyes, which will be red and heavy-lidded with constricted pupils if they've used marijuana. Pupils will be dilated and they may have difficulty focusing if they've been drinking. In addition, red flesh color of the face and cheeks can also be a sign of drinking. Watch their behavior. How do they act after a night out with friends? Are they particularly loud and obnoxious or laughing hysterically at nothing? Usually clumsy to the point of stumbling into furniture and walls, tripping over their own feet, knocking things over, or sullen, withdrawn, unusually tired and slack-eyed for the hour of the night? Do they look queasy and stumble into the bathroom? These are all signs that they could have been drinking or using marijuana or other substances. Don't be afraid to search their spaces. The limits you set with your child don't stop at the front door or their bedroom door. If you have cause for concern, it's important to find out what's going on. Be prepared to explain your reasons for a search, though. Whether or not you tell them about it beforehand, that's up to you. You can let them know it's out of concern for their health and safety. Common places to conceal vapes, alcohol, drugs, paraphernalia can include inside drawers, beneath or between other items, in small boxes or cases. Think jewelry, makeup, pencil cases, earbud cases, under a bed or other pieces of furniture, in a plant buried in the dirt, between or inside books, under loose floorboards, inside over the medicine cabinet, inside empty candy bags such as M&Ms or Skittles, in fake soda cans or other fake containers. And don't overlook your teen's cell phone or other digital devices. Do you recognize their frequent contacts? Do recent messages or social media posts hint at drug use or contradict what they've told you? If your search turns up evidence of drug use, prepare for the conversation ahead, and do not be deterred by the argument of invaded privacy. Stand by your decision to search and the limits that you've set. If you discover that your child is not likely to have been drinking or using other substances, this could be a good time to find out if there's another explanation for any changes in their appearance or behavior that needs to be addressed. The disease of addiction can be hard to recognize, especially in a growing child or teenager. Depending on the number of signs and symptoms you observe, it may be hard to know if this is just a phase or period of experimentation, or if your child is on a path to addiction. Making it even more difficult, your child may insist that there's just no problem at all, and you want to trust your child. It's easy to second guess yourself. All parents go through it. However, if there is any question or doubt in your mind, it's always best to have a professional evaluation. Trained counselors will give you the answers you need, and you, your child, and your family will be able to move toward a healthier, happier life. Don't forget to join our Facebook group for calm, empathetic, supportive parents and caregivers using the link below in the description. If you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and share with a friend. Until next time, wherever you are in your day, hug your child and make it a great one.